I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 320. Welcome to Thinner Peace in Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello everyone all over the world. Today I have a special most valuable podcast because every now and then I love to go back into my archives and pull out the most downloaded podcasts over the last 6 years. And since I've had like 1,500,000 downloads, it's really important that you hear some of these if you haven't been listening for 6 years, which I don't know, many of you have and some of you haven't. So today I have something really special because the way I titled it was The One Thing You May Not Know. So sit back and listen and see if I can teach you the one thing you may not know. Enjoy. Hi, everybody. How are you today? It's such a beautiful day here. You got to admit, spring has sprung. And it is just a sight to behold every single day for me. Are you getting out in it? Are you getting a chance to feel the air? Are you able to get out? I know we're in all different situations right now. And I know for a lot of you, it's never been like this before. But are you being able to take advantage of slowing down? Well, that's a lot about what I want to talk to you today. Is about slowing down and noticing. Because I want to tell you what I've been noticing in the past week with some of my clients. And maybe you're going to be able to relate to this. And maybe what I did for them might help you too. Because I think that what I'm going to talk to you about today is so common. And I really do believe that probably one of the reasons why so many of us, and I put myself in this, the reason that we've gone up and down in weight so often for so long is because of this one thing. And I believe that if you can understand and comprehend and then do what I ask you to do today, I think that you can change it for the rest of your life. I think this one thing is what can change everything. And I think this one thing is what can make this the last time you ever have to lose weight again. Years of doing this podcast, years of coaching people. And I just had an epiphany this week that this is the one thing that changes everything. So let me tell you a little bit about some of my clients in the past week, and let me give you some steps on what you can do if you find that you're a lot like them, which I believe you probably are. But before I get into that, I just want to ask you a big favor before I get into the meat and potatoes. That's so funny. Meat and potatoes. Before I get into what I really want to talk to you about, I really want to make sure that if you're loving my podcast and you've been listening for a long time or you just started listening, please, 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 you need to review this podcast. It is the best way to spread this good word. And the only way is through reviews. That's how iTunes recognizes how much they want to share this information with other people, by the reviews. So if you have not reviewed my podcast, please go to iTunes and review it. Give it 5 stars, please. But honestly, and write a review about how it's helping you because number 1, I'll read it and it's really good feedback for me. And number 2, you will help spread the word. And it's a wonderful way to kind of say thank you because as you know, there's no charge for this. And I've been doing this for 4 years. And some of you might have actually been listening that long. So please go and review my iTunes. And if you haven't subscribed, for Pete's sakes, subscribe. Best way to spread the good word. Okay, now for spreading the good word today, because I think this is the best thing that I have to spread. Okay, so what I've noticed this week with some of my clients, I'll get on the phone with them. And this is happening a little bit more recently, I've noticed, which is why I want to talk to you about it. I get on the phone and the first thing I'll say, hi, how are you? And I'm always so happy to talk to them. And many times they're happy to talk to me too. But sometimes, like what happened this week with one of them, is I get on the phone and go, hi, how are you? How's your week been? Okay. That's how they talk. It's okay. And you can just tell. The energy is so low. It's like I'd like to go through my phone and pick them up off the ground because it sounds like they're on the ground and they can't get up. And I'll ask what's going on. And ultimately, and usually, it's about what they have seen themselves doing over the week. They've been, quote, unquote, bad with food. Ultimately, this is always what it is. Okay. And what I want to share with you today is, number one, that feeling that I notice and then we start talking about is the beginning of a recognition that you need to see inside of you that something is not right. That emotion, that negative emotion, is a hint something is going on. And I'm talking about one of them right now, but really it's all about the same, different thoughts, a little bit of a different circumstance, but basically they didn't do exactly what they said they were going to do. And when I get on the phone with them, they basically want to beat the you-know-what out of themselves. Well, actually, they already have. They've already beat themselves up. And they're so pummeled that when they talk to me, you can just tell how beat up they are by themselves. So there's 3 things that I want to be able to share with you today about how to take care of this. And the 3 things is that you first have to notice what you're feeling, and then you have to notice what thought created that feeling. And then what you must do in the end is you must realize that it's a thought and that all thoughts have evidence on both sides for making it true. Once you can notice that, then you will be able to bring yourself back to the present moment, back to taking care of yourself, back to the next meal, coming back. And I've talked to you a lot on the podcast about the best thing that I can ever teach anyone is how to come back when they're feeling terrible about themselves because they've done something that they don't like. And I will tell you what, of all my clients, that's the one thing that stops them. It's the one thing that has stopped them in the past. It's the one thing that stops you is you mess up, you don't give yourself any leeway, and then you end up just going back instead of coming back. So I want to talk to you about the 3 things that you can do to help yourself come back based on what I did with my clients this week. Okay. So the first thing that we do is we notice that they're feeling something. And for all of them, the feeling was either shame or one of them said demoralized. Now, most of them have very strong emotions, and you probably do too when you're not happy about something that you've seen yourself do, when you can't forgive yourself. And usually that emotion, when I talk about the emotions, and I talk about the emotional hunger scale, we're talking about the -10, the worst you can feel, to 0, which is neutral. And in this, I always ask, where are you? Now, I would say with all the ones that I'm talking about, they were all in -8s out of a 10. Like death is -10. We're talking about a -8. It's like, that's why I feel like I have to pick them up off the floor, is because they're so emotionally in the emotion. They're so into it, right? And when you feel that strong, there's not a lot you can do and there's not a lot they can do. So the best thing that happened for all of them is they got on the phone with me. So know that when you're having a feeling, you have to be able to find a way to feel it. For them, they were on the phone with me and I helped them through it. But for you, what I did with them is what you can do with yourself, right? If you don't have a coach, there's always a coach within you. There's always that person that you can depend on who is inside of you, who knows, the observer. Sometimes the observer is hard to find when that emotion is really strong. So the first thing is being the observer, or if you're being coached, what I'll always say is, what are you feeling and how strong are you feeling it? So for one, it was shame and it was a -8. For another one, it was demoralized and it was a -9. Now, before we go any further, before I go to the second step, which is noticing what you're thinking, first you have to feel what you're feeling when it's this strong. You can't change it. It's impossible. You might have noticed that. And then what happens sometimes is you end up beating yourself for feeling so bad, and then that just makes it worse. So it's like the first thing you do is you hold the space for yourself. Imagine somebody you love feeling the way that you feel, demoralized or ashamed, and so strong you can feel it, so thick. What would you do for them? Would you tell them how terrible they are and how they keep doing it over and over again? Or would you hold some space and let them either talk to you or let them just feel what they're feeling and give them the space to do it because you love them? That's what you need to do for yourself first is, sweetheart, I know you're feeling ashamed. What does it feel like? And I'll go through it with my clients is, what does it feel like right now? Where do you feel it? Some people feel it in their chest. Some people feel it in their gut. Some people feel it in their throat. Where do you feel it? Notice it. Feel it. Is it tight? Is it loose? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it a color? Get into the feeling and just feel it. This is what I do with my clients. As we're going through it, as they're starting to actually just feel it, and as I'm walking them through it, I can notice that their tone of voice is changing. Because what we're afraid of, what you're afraid of, is that if you actually go into the feeling, it's going to kill you. It's going to make it worse. You'll never get out of it. But actually, the only thing you can do is go into it. It won't kill you. This is called allowing a feeling, and it's the first step. So once they go into how this feels and where they're feeling it and noticing all of this, then I'll ask them again, how are you feeling now? And this is what is something that is so amazing, is that usually that number that was so strong, -8, -9, is less. They're probably still feeling it, but it's a little bit less just because they've been feeling it. It's almost calming to feel the emotion. It's more calming than pushing it away. And then I'll ask them to take 3 deep breaths. And that's what you need to do too once you go through this. Take 3 deep breaths, because what we know from research is that when we take 3 deep, strong breaths, belly breaths, it changes our system, our nervous system, and it helps use the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of the system that is calming. So as you start calming down, and as my client starts calming down, then I ask them, then you would ask yourself, number 2, what are you thinking? So the first step is you feel what you're feeling. The second step is once that emotion is calmed down, once you've allowed it to come through, then you can ask yourself the second question. It's just like if somebody that you loved was going through something because they were ashamed of something that they did and they were telling you, and then they start calming down a little bit, especially like with little kids. It's like, sometimes they're crying so hard. And then as they start talking about it and as they start catching their breath, you could just see them starting to calm down because they're getting it all out, and you can see them starting to feel better. And then it's like, okay, what are you thinking that's making you feel demoralized? And what one of my clients told me is this. They said, I've failed so many times and I'm failing again. Or something similar is, I'm just doing what I've always done. Both of those thoughts make her immediately feel demoralized. And when she felt or feels demoralized, what happens, of course, is that she ends up doing more of what she didn't like herself doing to begin with, right? That negative emotion spurs more of negative action, right? It creates more of the same thing, which is why we call it a negative spin cycle. So I let them see what it's doing, that thought. Once they can see that thought, which is the second step, they can see it. And believe you me, they believe it, right? They don't want to let go of it. They want to believe it. They want to convince me of why it's true, which is what you do to yourself. And that's why it becomes such a strong belief system and why it's so hard to change, right? Because you've been carrying this thought for so long. But here's what I want to do next with them. What I start asking them. How is this not the same? How is this not the same thing that you always do? See, you start questioning this thought a little bit, because if it's a thought, which it is, and it's not a fact, right? It's not a fact that you can prove in court. I know you think you could, but you can't, because you have done other things. You haven't always just done this. You have done other things. You have not failed every single time, even though you tell yourself you have. There are times when you haven't. But once you can start questioning this, and once I start coaching them on this and start showing them, like for instance, they're on the phone with me right now. That's different than what they've done before because they never had a coach. Oh yeah, well that's true. Okay. Well, isn't that interesting that you've done food journals all week? Oh yeah, well I never used to do that. I would just stop immediately, whatever I was doing, and I wouldn't do it. I go, but you continued to do the food journals, didn't you? And you got on the phone with me. And you're talking it through with me right now. Isn't that different? All of a sudden, their brain starts noticing how what they were thinking isn't true. Maybe and isn't. And not only isn't it true, but it's not serving them. And there might be other choices, right? Because with thoughts, they're optional. And with thoughts, there's many of them. There's so many thoughts running around in our head right now. We just choose certain ones over and over and over again. So now all of a sudden she perks up a little bit and she goes, yeah, I did do the food journals all week and I still put down my hunger scale and my emotional hunger scale. And I still noticed all that. And I go, isn't that amazing? Isn't that why this is different? It's not the same. It's different. And then the third step, which is what I was talking about, we're questioning the thought. Right? First, we're noticing what the thought is. And then the third step is we're questioning it. I'm coaching her and questioning her. You can do the same with yourself once you're calmed down. You can start writing this. So you can coach yourself or you can have a coach. But once you start questioning the thought, is it really serving me? Is there something else that might serve me better? And a lot of times your brain will go, no, there isn't. But no. At least it's just your brain. It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just your brain hanging out in the same neural pathway that it's been for a long time. But it's loosening up a little bit. Your brain's having a look outside and going, yeah, well, I did do the food journals. I did write everything down. And I stopped eating. And all of a sudden you start noticing more things that you've done that actually were helpful. I mean, there were times when she didn't do what she wanted to be doing, but there were many times, as we noticed in her food journal, that she actually was doing what she wanted to be doing. There was as many times as she was doing the right thing as there was when she didn't like it. She just didn't see it. All right. Once you, number one, can feel the feeling. 2, notice the thought. 3, question the thought. Turn that thought. Think about that thought and make it just a little bit different. Tweak it. This isn't the same. I am doing it differently. It's possible I can do it differently. It's possible I can believe that I can do it differently. You start just tweaking it a little bit. So now I can hear the voice changing. I can hear her chest breathing again, and I can see her straightening up her spine. And this is when I call this, and this is something from Pema Chodron, which she calls this is unconditional confidence. It's somehow you conjure up that confidence inside of you to come back because you start to notice all this and then you bring yourself back. What do I mean when I say bringing yourself back? You bring yourself to the present moment. You notice what you've been thinking. You notice what you can be thinking. And then you also notice that at the next meal, you can do something different. Every time you come back, you just start where you are with the next meal. Eating when you're hungry, stopping when you're full, writing down your numbers, and you've come back. That's what makes this the last time, is because you know how to bring yourself back. And you bring yourself back because now you're using self-kindness, you're using self-compassion, right? You're using a lot of that in the beginning of these stages to feel your feelings, right? To allow yourself space. To allow yourself space to be able to see the thinking without beating yourself up more. And then once you can allow yourself that, you can allow your brain to help you look for something different, to notice something different, to notice something better about yourself. It is the comeback. that makes the difference. And what Pema Chodron talks about, that she was in an interview that I loved about this unconditional confidence. Unconditional confidence is just a bank of energy that is always accessible to us. And we notice what dampens the energy and what opens up the energy, right? So we notice that the thoughts that close it up, and then we notice the thoughts that open it up, and that we have enough energy to bring ourselves back. It's the best gift that you can give yourself, and it's what makes the difference between making this the last time, is that you come back to the present moment, to the next meal, and you're back. And you start again. And you can end up at any weight you want doing that. You can weigh what you want, but more importantly, you can think differently of yourself. You can be kinder to yourself. You can be more compassionate with yourself. It's the best gift that you can give yourself. Please, please, please. I tell you every single week, learning to be kind to yourself. This is the most kind thing that you can do for yourself. You stop beating yourself up to a pulp. The only reason when you're feeling bad is because you're telling yourself something. It is never what you did. It's what you tell yourself. And when you can learn to talk to yourself in a kinder way, then you bring yourself back. Guys, I hope this helps you. I think it's the most important work that you can do. I think this week has never been a better week to do this. And please know that if you want help with this, if you can't do it yourself, I know many of you cannot, that's when you decide that you might need a coach. And that's what I do. That's what I did for my clients this week, is I gave them that space to help them see and then really use that self-kindness tool and that comeback tool. If you'd like to learn more about how to do this and about how to work with me, just go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. You can set up a mini session. So before I end, you know what I will tell you, what I always tell you, what the main theme of this podcast was. As you go through this week, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself and bring yourself back. Bye-bye. If you've been following my podcast and you're loving all the tools that I teach you, but you're just not sure that you can do it or apply it by yourself, then please go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. And you can find out if the program that I do and the coaching that I do will help you get to where you want to be, to learn all the tools that I teach and be able to make it a part of your life. Just go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. You can set up a free 30-minute mini session.